How's it going, guys? TND coming back at you. Today I wanted to go over with you what is, I believe, to be the strongest PvE build in the entire game in Season of the Wish. This build offers an incredible amount of survivability, add clear capabilities, and for the first time in a while for the Solar Warlock, a swap exotic that allows you to absolutely chunk bosses during DPS phases. And part of the reason why Solar Warlock is so strong this season has a lot to do with Season 23's artifact. Flint Striker allows us to basically have infinite Radiant uptime as long as we're getting solar weapon kills. Kindling Trigger makes it so Radiant effects also apply Scorch to targets. Not only that, we also have Rays of Precision, so we'll be igniting enemies on precision kill as well. For harder activities, we have Revitalizing Blast to debuff champions with solar abilities. If that wasn't enough, Heart of the Flame grants Radiant and super damage buffs to nearby allies when you pop your Well of Radiance. This artifact alone is basically a powerful solar build on its own, and we're only going to make it even stronger with our subclass and exotics. Starting with the king of solar warlock exotics, the Sunbracers. Whenever you get a solar melee kill, you are able to spam as many solar grenades as you want. Your solar grenades are of course boosted with Touch of Flame to make them last even longer and periodically spawn lava all over the place. As long as you're getting melee kills, you can basically spam these grenades endlessly for some of the best add clear in the entire game. To help with consistency, we'll be using the Roy Mustang snap to help spread that Scorch and get those melee kills a little easier. Our second aspect is going to be Heat Rises, and let me tell you, it was not easy to take off Icarus Dash, but for peak survivability, you need to be using this aspect. Not only does the airborne kills granting melee energy pair perfectly with Sunbracers, but more importantly, it synergizes with our Phoenix Dive, giving us that coveted restoration ×2 when we activate our dive with Heat Rises active. The gameplay loop that I have found to be most consistent is to start with a melee kill, weakening a target beforehand if needed, and then once I have Sunbracers active, I will either consume the first grenade or I'll throw the first grenade into a pack of enemies and then consume the second grenade and keep hopping and spamming from there. Remember, you want to be airborne as much as possible to keep Heat Rises active and refreshing. Once you have the grenades on the ground, Phoenix Dive down and keep clearing adds to refresh that buff as well. To keep them refreshing endlessly, we'll be using Ember of Empyrean. So as long as we're getting solar kills, those abilities should stay active. I'm also using Ember of Solace to give me just a little bit extra wiggle room to get those first couple of kills while I'm getting things rolling. My final two fragments are Ember of Resolve for heals on grenade kills and Ember of Singeing for more class ability regen on Scorch, which as we noted earlier will be happening literally all of the time. Onto our weapons, starting with my favorite new gun this season, the Scatter Signal Strand Rapid Fire Fusion Rifle. This thing is super strong, and the crafted version with enhanced overflow and control burst allows this weapon to overflow to 18 in the mag with a solid new damage perk to boot. It is absolutely perfect for boss and mini boss damage. For our primary, there's two really good exotic options this season. The first one I'd recommend in most cases is going to be Sunshot, as it pairs really well with the solar artifact perks this season. The other one I really like this season is Vex Mythoclast, as it got a buff this season so that its linear mode deals way more damage to champions. Could be a viable option for using this build in GMs this season. I don't know, try it out. In your heavy slot, I'd recommend a rocket launcher, as they are the boss DPS meta right now, and the new artifact perk Argent Ordnance gives them a damage boost that stacks with every other buff in the game right now. And if you're running overload rockets as well, then this build can stun every single champion in the game as well. Apex Predator with Reconstruction Bait and Switch is probably the best option here, but I'm personally using this really awesome world drop I got, the Crux Termination 4 with Reconstruction and Demolitionist. This particular role is pretty spicy when we get to our boss DPS build in a second. For stats, as always, you want to prioritize Resilience, Discipline, and Recovery in that order. On screen, you'll see the mods I used for this part of the build. I will be leaving dim links in the description if you want to check those out. And consider leaving a like and sub while you're down there. I have a lot of guides and builds coming this season. You won't want to miss them. Now, the boss DPS version of this build is almost identical, as we're mainly swapping out our exotic and some of the armor charge mods. That exotic being Apotheosis Veil, which is kind of becoming the new hotness in Warlock DPS this season. If you enjoyed the ability regen spam of Starfire Protocol, well, Apotheosis is basically that, but injected with a 32-ounce charged Panera Lemonade. Because of this, we're going to need to keep our subclass 100% identical for hot swaps, just switching out our solar grenades for those beefy fusion grenades. Then pull out your Demolitionist rocket, pop your well, and spam those abilities and rockets as much as you can. Once DPS is over, you can then switch back to your regular Sunbracers loadout afterwards. Like I said, I 100% believe this is the strongest PvE Warlock build out there this season, but there are tons of other strong builds I plan on highlighting, so be on the lookout for those videos very soon. Thanks again, everyone. I will catch you guys in the next one. Happy hunting, Guardians.